the ink hasn't even dried, and the money didn't even clear in the bank, and the sign out front was changed. So I was like, damn, guys, like, I'm trying to have meetings in the conference room, and I still own the place, and they're in there every day, and they're running out of there. I'm like, get the hell out of here. You still got 4 more days.
Michael, you talked about, obviously, the big win in Indianapolis, huge for you guys. But it's one thing to, be a race-winning team. It's another thing to be a multiple race-winning team. How vital would it have been to have capped off that Watkins Glen race with another win, or even won a super speedway to have multiple wins going into that playoffs?
Yeah, so woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Like, it's always easy to look back at it. I think for us, our group, going out there, to Watkins Glen, having a shot at the pole, taking the lead early on, leading a lot of laps, was not, I don't want to say a confidence builder, but in a way it just showed, like, hey, it's not a fluke, we can do this. And then we had some troubles, right? We penalty on pit road, then we had an engine failure, and it all fell apart, right? But to us, we didn't look at it so much like that. We looked at it as like, no, we can do this. And not just once, but we can do this and continue to do it. And then I would say for me, I know it's going to sound crazy, but the most impressive run that we had really was Bristol in the playoffs. Qualifying in the top 5, running in the top 5, racing in the top 3 all night long. We didn't have the race winning car, but we were really, really close. And at a place like that, where short tracks, it's historically, statistically have been a struggle for us, that meant a lot to us as far as being able to do it, not just on road courses, not just on super speedways. So I think there's a lot of confidence going into 2024. One of the confidence builders for me is, you want me to use this?
That's what NASCAR
wants you to do. In? Okay.
That's what they are. I'm just trying to help.
Do you want me to start over?
No.
Yes, please start over, Michael,
from
the very beginning.
So the confidence for me comes from the people. And the great thing about this upcoming season is we've kept the same people. And last year, we started over completely. And that's hard to do. It's hard to take a brand new group and go and have success. And we were able to do it mildly. And I think keeping that same group together, we are going to be in a really good spot next year to run well and capitalize on more opportunities.
Hey, Cole.
How's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good.
All right. Cole, I'll start it off with, anyone else could have seen going from Cup to Xfinity as a demotion, but you proved that was anything but winning a championship. So what are your takeaways from this past season, and what are you looking forward to after this?
I mean, I think just knowing just how proud we are as a team to put that all together. I think what we're most proud of is that it wasn't easy. We had to really work for it and try and make our cars better and work as a team to really figure out what we needed. And I think having to do that really made us all better. And I think it was just a great year, and it's a testament to all the people at SHR and what we did. So I really take that away from it.
Cole, what do you feel like the strength of field in the Xfinity Series is compared to when you started running full-time in 2017? Because with the charter system, we've really seen a trickle-down effect of teams really stick in Xfinity and grow and develop there and become very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good amount more competitive than what it was. I think back in 2019 even, there were maybe 5 guys any weekend that could go win a race, where now I feel like there's 10 to 12. So if you're not on your game, you're going to run 12th. So it's definitely competitive, and everybody gives you a good run for your money every week.
How does having regular drivers in that series that compete in there from year to year, like just an Allgaier being probably the best example, Brandon Jones, a couple other ones. How does that help?
Well, I think it's huge in just having those veteran guys that can set things straight. It's tough when you just have a lot of young guys and they just have to learn from somebody. And I think having experienced guys that can go out there and race hard and know what they're doing, it's huge for the series, just to try and groom the talent that's coming up and keep the racing how you want it.
Do you still feel like a young guy, or champion now, or?
I mean, I guess I feel like I'm starting to turn that corner maybe. I've always been the young guy pretty much my whole career, but I feel like now I'm starting to be a little bit more experienced. I've driven in all 3 series, and I feel like can bring a decent amount to the team. And I think that's something to be proud of, that you can go and work with your team and make things better. So yes, maybe starting to turn that corner.
pardon the accent I'm going to put on this, but I just got to say it. Stone Cold. Who come up with that?
It was just our guys. I think in 2019 they just kind of saw the rhyme in my name, you know, and we just kind of went for it, you know. But it's been cool so far.
Fun to play into.
Yeah, been fun to do.
You think you'll carry that into next year too?
Oh yeah, whenever we're winning, we're gonna do it.
What's it been like working with Riley Herbst, and how big was that as an organization when he finally got his win?
It was huge. I mean, I think it was really good working with Riley this year. You know, we were able to really bounce ideas off each other really good, and I think how our teams work together. I mean, if we didn't have the '98 team, I don't think we won the championship. You know, that's how good the teams work together and shared information. So I think he was a huge part of it, and obviously getting that first win in Vegas was pretty awesome. I mean, just seeing that how hard he's worked for it, and his whole family there was a pretty surreal moment.
You have Snowball Derby coming up. Can you just talk about what you're looking forward to about that event and why you keep coming back for it?
I'm looking forward to. I just want to win, so I just want to win that race, and that's one that's on my bucket list. And I've loved racing late models the last couple of years, and it's taught me some good things. I feel like it doesn't necessarily always help me on the cup level, but it does always keep me in a race car and keep me racing, and those guys are really competitive, so all that stuff helps for sure. But at this stage, going to race the Snowball is just all about winning, and I feel like we have a good shot. I thought I would have a good shot last year, and I feel similar going down there this year, so just a matter of kind of putting it all together and having the car and all the pieces of the puzzle go correctly.
Just hearing you say wanting to win, so that makes me think next year's 40th anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, last year, 2 teammates of yours went winless. They had some unfortunate injuries come up in their way. How important is that for you as a driver, for you and your 3 teammates to all get a win for Hendrick next year? In a 40th anniversary?
I mean, we always try to win, so I'm not going to go into next year just because it's the 40th year and say, man, I really want to win. But I hope I win more races than I did this year. I hope I win 10. So that's the goal. And, I told everybody that, we just want to be the fastest next year. So we were really good this year. We were always in the mix and always one of the guys, but just want to be faster next year.
What did you do to your shoulder?
It was planned. Wasn't planned to be how bad it ended up being, but this is something that I planned to fix in the offseason.
So it's sort of like a scope, and then they get in there and they find that it's worse than what they thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I had 3 years ago, I did a left shoulder bone spur, and this was supposed to be just a bone spur as well, but I knew that I messed it up pretty bad Vegas week. And then since I ran the rest of the season after Vegas, it just continued to do more damage, and now certainly going to be a little bit longer than what was anticipated.
Was it initially a racing injury from
No.
a few years ago?
No, this is a genetics thing where the bone just grows a little bit too long. But then obviously as you keep agitating it, and then whatever happened during Vegas week, just I popped some tendons that week, and then the following week had another incident, and then it just, trying to race on it was just not good.
NASCAR yesterday announced the new television deal. It looks like it's a 40% increase kind of over what it was before. From an owner's perspective, your thoughts on that and kind of what it means going forward as you guys, negotiate the charter agreement?
Yeah, I'm certainly happy that, that part of the deal is done. That definitely took up a lot of NASCAR's attention over the last few months to try to get them to figure out what the deal was going to be. And now it shifts to, getting a deal done for the teams and making sure, we see, now that we know the landscape of where we're going to be on certain networks, how does that impact us positively or negatively in certain aspects of our team and the revenue that we have.
In terms of the financials, are you pleased with the number? Did you more, less?
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I think NASCAR should be pleased with it as well. I think that there's an opportunity long term to grow some audience through some of the distribution that the partners have. So overall, pretty pleased.
Danny, what's the trade-off? This past season, 20 races on network television. Next year, 20. But at the new media rights, it's 9.
although there is this stream. What's the trade-off for a team in terms of seem like short-term, maybe not as large of an audience for some races, and how that's to play out, and how do you explain that to sponsors?
Yeah, it's certainly a story we have to tell, and we have to see how it impacts us. I think that there will be a short-term impact, and then there will be a long-term impact. Now, impact could be positive or negative. So I think that it's yet to be seen. NASCAR mentioned some numbers to us of what that impact, they thought the impact would be percentage-wise. So then we have to figure out, what does that mean to our bottom line? Because ultimately, what we care about is, are we sustainable or not? And there's a number we need to be sustainable. And can we get to that number now with all the new facts?
All right, Chris Buescher, as we know, from Prosper, Texas. We were just talking about that. How have you been enjoying the off-season so far, man?
The off-season's going very quickly. We're staying very busy, and it's been a good time to try and unwind a little bit from the schedule at the track and the busyness, but I feel like I've been just as busy at home, so had a lot going on, but surely having a good time.
Now we have another car, the 60. How beneficial will that be for you guys at Daytona? Hopefully to get David Reagan into the race, have another car out there with you. How are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's really neat. Obviously, I have a special place for the 60 number in my time at Roush in that car. David and his family, I owe a tremendous amount to be sitting here right now. I worked in David's shop when I moved to Charlotte. I actually moved in with his parents and lived with them when I was, 15 or 16 years old. And came out this way, so it is cool to be racing with him again, and to have him coming over. Obviously, a great race car driver and really strong at super speedways as well. So I feel like we'll have another great RFK teammate out there, and we've obviously been very deliberate about how we work with two of our cars together, and have been able to get really good results and a trophy out of it. So adding that third car in there just tips the scale a little bit more in our favor is what our plan is, and very much looking forward to getting down there and being able to have 3 RFK Fords in the race.
And one more question, since we're here in Tennessee, obviously Bristol, special place in your heart now for the first win of RFK. Are you excited that they're going back to concrete in the spring?
Yes. I was probably one of the bigger proponents to going back to concrete. I have nothing against dirt racing, and I will say in the maybe dozen dirt races I've done in real dirt cars, I've had an absolute blast. So I want to be clear about that, but man, I'm glad to get Bristol back on concrete and get that dirt out of there. So very much looking forward to that. Bristol's my favorite track too that we race at, so I'm a little biased just in that regard, but stoked about that. Definitely I'm going to sit here and tell you it's definitely the right move, and can't wait to get there.
Kyle, talk about if you can say one thing that you want to work on in the off season for 2024 after your first year at Childers. What would that be?
Consistency. That would be the biggest thing. For us, we had some highs and a lot of lows, and a lot of DNFs. So just trying to figure out more about this car for me and how to drive it. And, the car always trends loose. So, me trending loose, being over the tire, over the peak of the tire, I spin out and crash too many times. So got to hone in on that and fix that, and have those days where, you're gonna have days of 12th to 15th, but how do you put that in your mind that you can be able to do that, or that you can accept that and just take the finish?
And Chevrolet is keeping the same body style, unlike Ford and Toyota this year. Is that going to help you all beginning of the season?
Yes and no. I probably lean more towards no, because anytime a manufacturer is working on their stuff and coming out with something new, they're not taking a step backwards, So, they're working on it to make a step forward, and unfortunately, our body style stays the same, so we don't have that. And I would say after 2 years, they've been with the same body for 2 years, and after 2 years of being with the same one, you've about maxed out every opportunity that you've been able to find. There's not many wind tunnel ideas that you can come up with anymore that can get you anything and fit within the rules.
Do you feel like you approach things differently behind the wheel now? I mean, are you more about strategy and setting up versus
just go for it?
Yeah.
No, I definitely, yes. I remember, this is funny. My first year down in Daytona, I was a rookie, and we were in practice, and we were all kind of too wide, whatever. And there was a move. The middle was open, and so I just stuffed my car in the middle and put myself through the middle, and worked my way through and got up towards the front of the pack. And Gordon, my teammate at the time, he didn't like that. Like, he was experienced and kind of was like, that was a dangerous move. Like, you shouldn't have done that, and you could have crashed us all, and all this stuff. Like, he's yelling at me. And then during the race, Jeff's car wasn't handling as good during the race, and mine was, because we worked on a few things because I put it in bad spots to see what it would do. And so our Monday morning meeting afterwards, Rick Hendrick actually told Jeff, well, maybe you should have went up the middle in practice. So that was the stuff. I would be more like Jeff was then now,
Right.
So I look at some of these other kids and I'm like, damn, what are they doing? How stupid is that? But obviously they're,
Do you ever feel like
they
you're
haven't
looking?
experienced those moments yet. I've had some hard hits.
Do you ever feel like you're looking in a mirror of like old Kyle Busch sometimes out there? Or?
I hate looking in the mirror every day. So, but no, just, you look back on things that you did in the past and you're like, okay, well, what's always worked or what hasn't always worked, and to try to, keep building on that to make yourself better every time. I mean, you look at the game of the NFL, for instance, right? Like, the game was played entirely different 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But the rules in the game itself is relatively the same. That's the same for us. But all these new kids coming in and doing things a little bit differently, or how they do stuff is certainly changed the game always.
Genuinely curious here. I don't even know if you pay attention to this, but I do at driver introductions. You ain't been getting booed as much, man. You've been getting a lot more cheers at these tracks that I've been to. So
yeah, are you signing me up for most popular driver this year?
I'm wondering. Do you think you got a chance?
I have been told by NASCAR that I've finished second the last 3 or 4 years, and the gap's getting closer. So.
And at the Hall of Fame when we went this year, you were at the top of the
You were at
list.
the top.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'll take it.
All day, and the people in NASCAR Hall of Fame said it's been happening for weeks.
Yeah,
you've been number one up there.
Hey, I'm all for it, man. That would probably be the shock of the night. So
Yes.
I'm excited about
I've got
that.
the
I'm gonna
graphic
dress
ready
to
just in
impress
case.
just for that moment, so I can be ready.
Do you think that people, loving to hate you in the past led to your popularity, and that you're, because I think once you achieve again and say win a championship, you'll be back to being a little more.
Yeah, no, I think so. When you're young, you come in and you start beating up on the guys that have been here for a while. People don't really take well to that, so you're not very well liked, and especially doing it the brash way that I did early on. It certainly got some more eyeballs on my name, but as I've gotten a little bit older, as I've matured a little bit, as I've not won as often, people are starting to like, hey man, that guy used to win all the time, but I want him, like, I'm going to pull for him. I want him to win. Let's see him win some more, so it turns the table for sure. I think that's pretty awesome. I remember how many times did Jeff Gordon get booed after a win, right? Like in the late 90s especially, and then his last win that he had at Martinsville, I mean, the crowd went nuts. So that was just times change and the tables turned.
Well, when they're booing Denny. Yeah, when they're booing Denny.
Yeah, he won't ever come out of that.
When they're booing Denny, then are you a little bit jealous or no? When you hear them woo and you're like, hey, wait, that's me.
Yeah. Well, so I remember having the boos be pretty loud during driver intros walking across the stage. Well, it was on me, so I didn't have to look up at the screen to see who it was, right? But now when you're already done with driver intros, or you're backstage behind driver intros and you hear it and you're like, wait, who was that? Then now I feel like what everybody else was doing when I was walking across stage.
Has Brexton ever asked, why don't they boo you anymore, Dad?
No, he's not old enough for the earlier years of when I got a lot of that, so I'd have to turn on the YouTube videos, but we're not doing that anytime soon.
Don't show him that Bristol one.
Which one was that?
2010. Don't show him that one.
Driver intros?
Yeah.
Oh, with Brad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, it was good though. It was epic. We
Yeah.
had a lot of epic moments.
We always do.
A lot of your cars and trophies were on display at KBM. Is there a future, perhaps, for a museum for you to open up to kind of keep that alive?
No, you got money? Costs money to do that.
I'd love to see the Kyle Busch Museum.
Obviously moving everything out of KBM, that's been our off-season project so far, which has been stressful to say the least. But we're taking 77,000 square feet of stuff and stuffing it in 8,000 square feet, So Brexton's got a 4,000 foot shop, and then I've got a 2,000 foot with car lifts and stuff for all of my cool cars and stuff that I got, and then all the trophies are just on pallet racking with shelves around the wall, So easiest, cheapest way to be able to do it, but yet still kind of show it off. And everybody always asks me, they're like, man, have you ever gone and looked at your trophies and kind of just sat there and thought about what's happened over the years? And honestly, my answer was no. Like I never really walked down through the museum at KBM to look at that, but they're all still there one last time. We have our foundation event next weekend, and then after that, we're going to finish clearing it all out and move it all to the new place. So it's a hell of a project to move 300 something trophies, you know. So, but we got a great team, and me, Samantha, her mom, her dad, and one other guy who just kind of helps out. That's it. You know, they wanted to hire movers, and I said, no, we got 5 ourselves. We got it.
Better have to move 300 than 10.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah. Trust me.
This new place won't be open to the
it's
public?
okay, yeah. Just know it takes a little longer.
This new place won't be open to the public, though?
Correct, yeah. No, it won't be open to the public. So it's just kind of, I just put the stuff in the space just in case we ever had, like, you know, NASCAR interviews and cool things that people wanted to come over and do some stuff behind the scenes with, and you know, we'll pull some cars out, pull some trophies out, and set it up.
Are there any emotions when you see those social posts of them kind of rebranding that place as Tire?
Dude, the ink hasn't even dried, and the money didn't even clear in the bank, and the sign out front was changed. So I was like, damn, guys, like, I'm trying to have meetings in the conference room, and I still own the place, and they're in there every day, and they're running out of there. I'm like, get the hell out of here. You still got 5 more days, 4 more days.
I did see that they were doing more wraps and paint, so it's kind of still
on
under
the walls.
Yeah, so it's under there a little bit.
That's the way of doing it nowadays. Yeah. So it's fine. You know, it is a little bit, you know, weird for sure to kind of see all of that changing and the moving of the guard, but you know, it is what it is. It was the right time.
Would it be weird to go back in there, like when you're prepping to run the races for them, like when it's not KBM anymore, where you'll be going in there to prep to drive?
I'm wondering how long my key card will still work for. So, you know, actually, I do know the secret doors that don't need key cards to get in. So
You shouldn't have said that.
I know, right? But I know every crack and crevice and story and secret, everything of that place. You know, so obviously it's going to be a little bit of memory lane for a little while, but then I'm sure that'll wear off.
Don't think you'll accidentally walk into the owner's room out of a habit.
No. They've been changing the offices enough already that it's hard to see the same things that I saw for 15 years.
At least new contraptions.
You said that 23 was, you'd give it an incomplete grade, but there were some highs in it that weren't there in 22. What made the ultimate difference?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, you know, going back to victory lane, that's what it's all about when the year starts, and you want to be able to go out and win races. So, you know, really had a really good regular season, and, you know, kind of the wheels fell off in the playoffs, but, you know, a lot of it was circumstances, and, you know, of course we made some mistakes and things along the way. We're going to try to work on those in the off season, but, you know, overall, you know, a lot of highlights, a lot of good things, and a lot to build off of.
Having this opportunity and the accomplishments you had with Gibbs, does it make it even more amazing what you were able to do with Furniture Row? Do you ever look back and think, that may never happen again in this sport, and what an amazing run that was when you won the championship with that team?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it all the time. Like, you know, on the way here, even just talking about guys, you know, when we used to do the burnouts and had show cars, and like we had the crappiest show car ever, Furniture Row, because we literally had one, and they just threw it together because the focus was always on the race car. It was just a different, you know, kind of way of doing things.
Right.
And, you know, thinking back on that team and what we were able to accomplish is just definitely amazing.
Does it feel like even a bigger accomplishments in a sense, because you were, I don't know if underdog is the right thing, but I mean, you didn't have the same resources as you just mentioned that these other teams did. So to do what you did then is...
Yeah, I mean, we had an ace up our sleeve, though, with, you know, the collaboration with JGR and Toyota, and so we had some, I guess, more room to kind of be creative and kind of take gambles or risks and not have the big corporate banner, you know. And it was definitely interesting to see how it all worked and to think back and just compare it, you know, against kind of what we do now, and you know, it was kind of just a band of outlaws, so to speak, and it was definitely fun.
After New Hampshire, you were talking about potentially looking at that fishing boat. So I'm curious, here in the off season, have you been looking at one?
I bought one in August. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
what'd you get?
I've been fishing. I bought a center console.
Nice.
34 foot. Nothing too crazy, but I've been putting some fish on the deck, so it's good.
Kevin, did you ever think buying the Ricky Bobby house would make such headlines during the off season?
I've learned that you never know what's going to push buttons, but sometimes it just makes me laugh. Yeah.
Did you know it was the Ricky Bobby house?
I did.
That news, out of all the off-season news I've had this season, was the #1 most watched video this month, surprisingly.
The Ricky Bobby video?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
What does it mean to you to have the hometown speedway named after you and to be a part of that speedway's future going on?
Well, Bakersfield is obviously my hometown, and I view as one of the biggest racing towns in the country. And when I look at the current facility and what it is, it's one of the nicest short tracks in the country. It's kind of that hidden gem that just needed a kick in the butt to kind of get restarted and really reintroduced to the world. So working with Tim Huddleston and his family and hopefully getting that back to having the right events and the right weekly shows that it needs and everything that is going to happen is going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that project, and those are the types of projects that I enjoy, and we're looking forward to hopefully great things.
Has the transition to broadcasting started yet for you?
The transition to everything started about 2 years ago. So it's just, look, the way that we like to do things and the things that we like to do are just, they take time, and we went and laid out how we wanted the businesses to function with the broadcast booth and instead of the car, and what that looked like, and spent a lot of time trying to plan things that Glenn and I would enjoy, and I knew that retiring from the car there was going to be a transition period, and really it was all year. And working with Fox and doing the races in the booth and trying to get to know everybody and be ready for when the season ended and when we got done with the banquet, and now we roll right into all the meetings that will lead up to the start of the Daytona 500, so or the Clash first, I guess. So it's that's just kind of how we operate. We're gonna have a plan, and what that plan is you guys have seen it start to unravel, and there'll be many more pieces to unravel as we get into January and put all the pieces and everything into play before I go to the booth at the Clash and focus on that for 5 months, I guess.
Someone who's been very successful in transitioning from playing or racing to Fox Sports booth and being the A analyst is Greg Olson on the NFL side, who I'm sure you're very familiar with. Does Fox envision that sort of role for you, or are you more focused on setting your own example and I don't know if they've communicated like what they're expecting, like stylistically, from you and Clint or anything like that as far as the booth dynamic is concerned.
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think everybody wants it to evolve naturally. So it happens, right? It's kind of like any new situation. There are going to be things you like, things you don't like, and we'll work through whatever we need to work through. But in the end, I'm going to approach it just like I did with the car. And how do I play my role in being part of a team that it's way bigger than the three of us in the booth. When you look behind the camera and you go in all the production trailers and see everything that's happening, there's just so many pieces to the puzzle that I play a small role in. And so I think as we go through all of that and kind of learn the day-to-day flow of everything that's happening, that'll evolve naturally. And so we're going to have fun with it, and we're going to tell it like we see it and see where it all goes.
I kind of stumbled through this, but is there anything that you can take from Olson's example in particular?
Well, I like Greg's. I like Greg's style because it's just very bold and to the point, and I think that's the easiest way to do it. It just be who you are and tell it like it is. But Greg's got that. Greg's just got he's got a very strong personality and very knowledgeable about what it is, and I think for me it's I think when you look at somebody like I use John Madden as the example because I really like what John Madden did with football, right? He could sit in the booth, tell a great story about a game, but also go sit in the offices and make an impact on the sport, and that's I want to continue to be a part of the sport and help the drivers in NASCAR and teach and learn in the same breath. But I think a lot of the things that I've been fortunate to be able to do can hopefully help some of these guys and gals as they learn go forward and be better at what they do. So I envision the booth as a big part of being able to help the sport as well in ways outside of the booth, because you get to see and hear a lot of things.
And on that same note, how have things been for you and the Cars Tour, and what are you looking forward to most about the future of that program?
Well, the Cars Tour, we took that over at the beginning of last year and really just wanted to watch and see how we wanted to put our twist on things and understand really what we were working towards. And really the first thing that we found out is we were working towards having to find a sponsor for the tour to replace Solid Rock Carriers, and everything that they've done for the tour has been great. But so getting ZMAX involved and having them as a part of the Cars Tour is huge for us to have that national brand, and when you add in the title sponsorship and then go to North Wilkesboro twice, Marcus and SMI and their group has just been a huge part of really helping the Cars Tour get to where we wanted to be. So our goal is still not to screw it up. We have a great ownership group that has a great platform to be able to help our drivers and teams get the exposure that they need to hopefully be the place to race and have that consistency, structure, organization, all things that we will continue to try to just make it function as smoothly as possible and stay in communication with our teams to try to make sure we're doing the right thing for them. So we'll make some adjustments to the cars to try to get as a whole, late model stock racing is not just about the Cars Tour. It's, NASCAR has been a big part of helping us. We're in the NASCAR grassroots system. We've got Flow. We've got the same partner from a streaming side of things. So we've tried to keep that consistency for the late model stock racer, whether you're racing at your local short track or you're following the Cars Tour or you're just running the big events. We want late model stock racing in general to be as good as possible. We want that late model stock division to get the credibility that it's getting, and it's not just the Cars Tour. So we'll work hard to try to get all the rules shored up between the two sides to make as many things similar as possible. And there's probably 50 other things that on the agenda that we want to work towards, but that's a constant evolution of a list.
Do you envision yourself running any events like Dale Jr. has?
I don't know. I didn't want to rush into saying, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run 10 races or 2 races or whatever that is, because I think it's really important to establish myself, within the TV compound and in the booth to make sure I understand exactly what the workload is on the weekends, during the week, how much prep time, and make sure that I know as many people's names as possible in the production trailers and that are running the cameras and sitting in all the meetings and staying in the hotels and going to dinner and just that's really how I've tried to approach it from a team standpoint, is making sure that I'm doing my part and doing your part is no different in the booth. You just have to be a part of the team, and in order to be a part of the team you got to know all the people. So that's really my main focus until we get to June 9th, and then really after that you can start to deviate and do some different things. But when we fire up at the Clash, we need to be ready to roll.
Get the hell out of here.